Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are going to be continuing the narration and character voice acting for the side story, Lone Trail. And before we begin, thank you guys. Thank you. As I'm recording this, obviously the channel has finally surpassed the 1000 subs mark, and yeah, that is pretty much all I can say. I feel very humbled, so thank you very much. I just want to say this here at the very beginning because this is pretty much the first video I'm recording after this this mark has been achieved. So thank you all, like I always say, all the likes, probably the shares as well that you guys are doing, and everything is essentially helping this channel just to grow. And all I can say is let's keep this train going before I start mumbling and rambling here at the beginning even more than usual. Anyway, thank you very much, and let us proceed with the normal intro now. And as I'm pretty much sure, you probably already, if you look down, you've probably already noticed there's a couple of, once again, like for the last episode, couple of timestamps for different points in this video once again. So pick and choose where you want to start from off, but let's do the usual here at the beginning, which is to anybody new to Arknights and to the channel, of course, as well, bumping into it through this episode. If you want to get more details on what is connected to Lone Trail and stuff like that, please refer to the first episode of this narration where I talked about that on length. It will be easier and very quicker. And of course, we shall now proceed to do the quick recap of the previous part. So for those of you who wanna skip that, of course, like I said, there is a timestamp below, as always, and you will be at the first part of where we begin our story today. So then, last time we began our story pretty much where we left off in the part before. Saria and Ifrit were separated from Silence, but the two of them decide together to go after Silence themselves. In the meantime, we see Ferdinand, who is snooping about and has a tiny little meeting with Dr. Paris. And in another place, Mulcis, Rosmontes, and the Doctor are in Mulcis's vivarium. As she declares it, it is pretty much the cleanest place in all of Colombia, or in who knows how much of the land of Terra, considering it is the only place in the current vicinity, at least, that is not powered and does not contain any kind of originium inside of it. Everything is very clean. And it is clean because of the fact that Mulcis is an elf. As we get to learn from a conversation between Mulcis and the Doctor, the elves, or rather the race that Mulcis belongs to, the elves, is very susceptible to oripathy, more so than any other race on Terra. As she says it, if a elf contracts oripathy, they are pretty prone to die pretty quick. Days or even a short few weeks will be the top of their lifespan after they contract it. So yeah, they're very susceptible to it. They share a couple of other moments and a beautiful little dance. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Rosmontes have also decided that they will be, for Rosmontes' sake, be pursuing Loken, and that is exactly why the Doctor is also talking to Mulcis, because they are asking her about the location of Loken's lab. And back to Ferdinand after that, we see that he's still snooping about, this time around in the shaft of all places, as he is now finally going over some raw data that is displayed there on one of the displays. And as he is observing, he is very quickly realizing that the data that the military is receiving from the shaft, as in the power that is going through the thing, is off. Very off compared to what they are what data they are actually receiving. In the meantime, the military, aka Blake and his goons, are approaching the hammer site, as they are using Silence and the transmitter inside of her body now to pretty much pinpoint the location of the hammer. And before they can properly engage and storm the premises to find Kirsten, they get immediately stopped by none other than olheyak, who is she's pretty much running defense as a solo person. She's tossing the military personnel around like they're ragdolls. However, she does get interrupted by the appearance of Saria, who engages in combat with her and even manages to use her calcification to break through Ho's arts and grab her for a moment, even though she does manage to slip away once again, as Saria is a tiny bit wavering still with her decisions. Meanwhile, the trio of Rosmontes, Mulces, and the Doctor arrive at the location of Loken Williams's laboratory. And as they enter, Rosmontes gets immediately cut off from the other two, and we see scenes play out, which are essentially flashbacks of Rosmontes' time years ago when she was in the previous lab that Loken was the head of. And we see scenes play out between the two, and if not for the circumstances, you could literally describe those scenes as a grandfather taking care of a granddaughter of sorts. But we do know that it's not all sunshine and rainbows with that, considering what the laboratory was trying to accomplish. We do snap back to reality then, as well, as we see Rosmontes in front of Loken, as Loken is pretty much, or rather he invited pretty much Rosmontes to be his judge and jury, as he is the accused and accuser, and proceeds to pretty much tell her all the wrongs that he has done throughout his life. But they get interrupted in a crucial moment, as Rosmontes is slowly remembering stuff, and it is not pleasant for her, of course. She does get enraged enough, and the appearance of the military personnel that are storming the premises as well does manage to push her over the edge as she starts attacking them. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Muses do get surrounded by military personnel, or rather by power armor, but one of them turns out to be Ifrit, who is piloting it. She jumps out, knocks the other one out, and greets the two, but then, after a brief conversation, decides she's gonna be the one to jump in to grab a hold of Rosmontes and talk her out of her rage. And she proceeds to do so, very effectively. Rosmontes calms down, and her rage subsides. Meanwhile, as the environment around them got pretty much trashed by Rosmontes, the corridor is now shredded and open, the Doctor spots another vivarium. Pretty much the same vivarium that they have seen just recently, which was Mulces' private vivarium, but now they see a replica of it. As they proceed to enter, they also see in the background, somewhere in the distance, something they've never expected to see anywhere else again. And that thing is the sarcophagus. Now, is it the same or is it another one? Doesn't get specified, as the Doctor is trying to ask Mulces about details. Mulces picks them up with her water arts, or water powers rather, and manages to just gently shove them back out into the corridor outside of the Hammer's premises. And we also see a scene play out between Silence and Saria, who intersect on their path, exchange a couple of words, but we do see that Saria... By the way, if you look at that picture between Saria and Silence in that previous episode again, I do want to point out the symbolics there, as Silence is in the light, her face is in the light, and she's looking up. She has a clear goal, she knows where she is going. And Saria is in the shadow, her face as well, a bit more in the shadow than the rest, looking downwards, and a bit distraught and kinda lost. The symbolism in that picture was chef's kiss. Anyway, we do get greeted with two final moments in the previous episode. One of them being Rosmontes, who for one final time confronts Loken, as she verbally tells the Doctor that he is from here on dead. But the other thing that we get greeted with is the hammer lifting off. And that is where we stopped. So then, like last time, we shall begin with a couple of the case investigation files, two of them specifically. But first, let me introduce you to today's story. which will be obviously starting from the training stage, just the title and description for it, and then proceeding for stage 7 and 8. Next time, we are probably gonna finish it in one fell swoop with everything, considering I think it's only stages 9 and 10 and a cutscene left. I already have something else in plan that's gonna be part of that one as well, but that's for next time. For now, let's go back to the case investigation. The shaft is now complete, so there is a couple of extra things here. Hammer is hanging on the fact that I cannot do anything anymore until I get to the EX stages, so maybe in the next episode. And we have something new here as well. This I'm gonna leave for before we end today's episode. But let's proceed into here. So we have two files that we're gonna cover today. One is the file on Conrad Jackson, aka the Vice President. The other one is titled A Meeting. So let's begin with the first file. So this is part 3 for the shaft investigation, titled Conrad Jackson. I know what's on your mind, Rookie. Shaft is still nominally under the DoD, with city defenders on patrol, and you think that's a signal that they're breaking the ice with the central government? Yes, you're right. Jackson was a military brat and has close ties to plenty of generals. He wouldn't have won the election back then without the DoD support. Someone tried to rub him out of this time, yet he still stepped forward to act as a bridge between the DoD and Mainlander. You can't shake the feeling that Jackson threw away what should rightfully have been our and Mainlander's achievements? You're still a bit wet behind the ears. Our goal was never to shut down the DoD. They're a part of Columbia too, and we need only make them understand the new position they're in. If Jackson hadn't taken the initiative, then we might have suffered even more casualties, politicians and officers. He had the DoD concede at just the right moment, and even made a personal guarantee that the DoD and Mainlander wouldn't clash again. After we discovered that Kirsten's goal was no threat to national security, everyone involved was showering him in praise, especially the generals. Got it, kid? You should be admiring him. Put yourself in his shoes. Even if you had time to mull it over, would you have the guts to make the same decision, standing amidst all that hostility right after an assassination attempt? So you're not a complete idiot. Right, he didn't toss out the fruit of Mainlander's labors, but simply shoved it into his own pocket instead. And there's nothing wrong with that. The relationship between the previous vice presidents and Mainlander is like a seesaw. Sometimes the stronger side does have more influence on things. It is what it is. But if we all want to keep playing this game, then it's best not to start a winning streak. So now that we're on the same page, you should be crystal clear on why the higher-ups are glad to see this happen. Everything we do is for Columbia. Alright, and our second file here is titled A Meeting. This is part 2 for the Hammer. This is sort of a military look on things or preparation as to how they're handling the launch of the Hammer. So it kind of plays in tandem with, and this is only a slight spoiler, plays in tandem with what we're going to be witnessing in a bit in the story. So then, part 2, A Meeting. The following is a summary of an emergency meeting held by the DoD right after the Hammer took to the skies. Soldiers, I want you all in position. The mission is different. Our great Columbia has entered a state of war and the battlefield is right under our nose. 3 mounts. The DoD has granted me the highest level of authority, requesting the full cooperation of 4 perimeter divisions and 7 military bases, and everyone present will form our temporary command center. The order from above is clear, and I will repeat it word for word. Get that Rhine lab ring down, whatever it takes. The target's altitude is currently 240 meters and rapidly climbing. Our existing military aircraft are unable to fly as high as it can, so we must endeavor and damage its propulsion system as much as we can during its liftoff window to prevent it from reaching its targeted altitude, or at least slow it down. This special operation will be divided among 3 teams. The drone attack team will be made of 3 attack squads. First, a propulsion squad equipped with shockwave charges, detonating them 500 meters from the target to provide a springboard for the other 2 squads to approach the target before it can adjust its altitude. Next, a demolition squad equipped with high explosives, aiming to unleash their payload on the target's outer armor. Everyone should have already been sent the details. And finally, an assault squad to enter through the burned out hole and destroy it from the inside. The second team will focus on garnering support from all our tech companies and military contractors to employ whatever means they have to eliminate the target. Whoever shoots it down will essentially take over Ryan Lab's position, and with such an opportunity dangling in front of them, I believe they will be even more motivated than we are. Colonel Blake will personally lead the boarding party to the target in a prototype boarding craft. He will keep in touch via the frequency used for Spec Ops, so make sure your comm channels are open at all times. Soldiers, if we do not happen to survive this, I will be the very first to submit my resignation to the DoD. It is genuinely shameful to carry the rank and decorations of military honor after this humiliating experience. Perhaps it is time for the DoD to rethink the way we have looked at science, at technology, at these scientists. But before that, we must first complete the very first aerial campaign in Columbia's history, perhaps in all of Terra's military history. Terra bless us. One quick thing, now that it's reminding me, I want to point just out for people who do not know, Columbia, not obviously real but Columbia here in Arknights is based on the USA, essentially. So when they say Terra bless us, is pretty much like saying God bless us. Anyway, we shall proceed. There is one more thing I would like to add, but that will wait for a tiny bit later when we get a tiny bit more details through the story for it. There is a picture for the shaft with a bit of extra detail on it, but that's for later. For now, let us proceed to our beginning of the story. So last time we left off on the training stage, so let's go over the description very quick. Titled Cutting Edge. The masses believe that the mechanism inside such refined engineering must be beautiful too. Nasty declines to comment. Of course. And we proceed on to stage 7, titled Castle in the Sky. Even ethereal dreams can come true. November 21st, 1099. 7:11 p.m. HAMHRR. Mission elapsed time 3 minutes. Freezing around here. Assets keep shutting off the heaters. How many complaints am I gonna have to file before they realize we're here at night on overtime? Hey honey, what are you calling for? Oh, hold on, I'll speak to you outside. What day is it today? 9 days out from the project deadline. Progress is looking bad for us. I won't be home today either now. Our anniversary? Oh, oof. Sorry, it's been crazy the past couple days. I know, honey, you've been looking forward to that restaurant forever. I know. I'm sorry. The VP was touring Ryan Lab, so the egghead idiots on the board have been going insane. They're forcing every project to produce interim results immediately, or else we're SOL. I'm not coming up with excuses, honey. It's just... Listen, I can't do today. I'll make it up to you some other time, I swear. Hello? Honey, are you there? Shit. If only something would just happen. Why won't the offices blow up? Why won't the goons rob a bank? Why don't 3-month stupid city threats just snap in half? Anything. Night gradually sinks in. The office lights are set for another all-nighter, the shadow caging in this one pitiable researcher. He gives a shiver. They say snow is coming in a few weeks. Someone bumps past him out of nowhere. Okay, my fault for hoping. Eventually he shuffles his feet, stepping back into the high-rise, just as he's stifled his urge to stay outside a little longer. An irritating droning noise emits from far off. Catastrophe alarms sounding with no warning. A PA demanding evacuation echoes through the streets. The researcher subconsciously leans to hurry his gait. But suddenly he notices everyone around him coming to a slow halt. All gaze is drawn at once towards the sky. With great skepticism, he lifts his head again. What the hell is that? A massive toroid in sluggish revolution rises up from behind the building. In the dark, as mechanical devices unfold, the neon of the city that glares off the upper surface becomes one with the structure, metal luster shining too brightly for the naked eye. It is so imposingly majestic, so impossibly elegant, that it could only be the stuff of the most beautiful dreams ever dreamt. It pierces through the clouds, and inexplicably, it rises still. Some kind of ring? 7:13 p.m. Hammer mid-flight. I'm very interested, of course. Extremely interested. Really? Well, that's swell. If our project can get Ryan sponsorship. Take a seat, ma'am. Anything to drink? Plain water will be fine, Justin, sir. Please, call me Justin Jr. even. How about some wine? War took the Gaulish Empire, but I thank the troops for leaving us the best vineyards intact. Please. If you insist. Thank you. Come in. Director, your office phone has been ringing non-stop. Tell them I'm busy. You have some friends of yours looking for you. Mayor Benjamin, Councilman Chris, Deputy Phil, Commander Colette. Who else? You have Mr. Lewis, the one in charge of Industrial Sec. They say... who might you be, ma'am? Sorry, I'll wait outside. Don't worry about it, no secrets here. Go ahead. Right. They appear to be extremely unhappy with the articles you deposited at Plate 7. They were under the impression the project was a more ordinary one. Commander Colette went to Mr. Lewis. I'm afraid all Plate 7 monitoring files will be lost by tomorrow. The mayor and councilman have returned every case we've sent them over the past few years and declare they'll no longer be seeking your aid for campaigns. The deputy made some very radical statements. I hear he's gotten an emergency arrest warrant for the state prosecutor and seems to be on the way here now. I've notified defense, but we can't keep them away for long. And here I swore we got along well enough. How fragile our friendship is, wouldn't you say, ma'am? Justin, sir, I'm only here to ask you to invest. I don't think I should necessarily be in the loop on all this. Aren't you curious, though? What could Ryan Lab have that scares these elites and bureaucrats and black suits in white gloves so badly that they'd crawl out of bed in the middle of the night to get to work? I don't know. A nanodroid that extends your lifespan forever or something? Nice idea. If someone came to me with a prospectus and technical prototype, you knew I'd invest. I am wondering a little why you'd call me up, of all people. Have you ever heard of state syndrome, ma'am? Huh? I've seen it in the files. A rare hereditary condition, I think. Very rare, highly fatal, and extremely stubborn. Sufferers of it aren't usually expected to live beyond 45 and more than likely pass it on to their children. I assume it was Rhinelab that developed... Look, no rush to win your potential sponsor over. But yes, fairy tale ending. There's a miracle cure out for state syndrome, and while Rhinelab had no involvement in the research, it goes without saying that many have reaped the benefits. Pity it arrived a little late, is all. Old Justin Sr. died of organ failure from state syndrome 3 days before they finalized the drug. Justin Sr.? He must be... Sure was. And his son, Justin Jr., was informed of the Big White Blue after struggling in fear for a decade and change that he could live like a normal human thanks to the med. Bam! The nightmare that plagued my family was gone, like it never existed. Only later did I learn that the key element of the drug popped up when an intern researcher happened to mess up some reagents. That's fate, huh? That's how it goes. Well, at least you're free of the disease now. Because of a random dumb mistake. The incapable might call it a twist of fate, and when the curtains are closed, pat themselves on the back for it even. They see it as a gift of chance. But I can't stand it. I won't stand for it. I'll have this phenomenon safe and secure in my own hands. I'll grip it, and I'll control it. I'll dictate to where it goes. A catastrophe alarm? Why does it have to be now? Justin, sir, we need to evacuate. Huh. Finally. Justin Fitzroy Jr. Well, if it isn't the Supreme Court, you finally got me. What is your pledge? I pledge it will lead Columbia forth. What guarantees that? Is my participation not enough? Your many friends are dissuading me at this very moment. They tell me Colombian law shouldn't allow your people continue in their unbridled ways. If a mere fondness for sending out cases of money does unbridled ways make, then what, pray tell, do Kirsten's actions sum to? Justice, you told me that it's not for the protection of any sanctimonious ethics that Colombian law works. It must hew the brambles for those who make forth. I ask then, what is your verdict? If Colombia's court pales timid and weak, then I should see no reason why it deserves my future tenure. Much obliged. Was that just a Supreme Court justice calling? But what research are Rhine Lab even handling? Easy, easy. Rhine Lab's no danger to the law. You're with a trustworthy firm. But... Oh well, back on topic. About what I've been stashing in the jurisdictional care of my friends. Go pull the curtains, ma'am. You won't want to miss the show tonight. What is that? How is something that big flying? Is that another Rhine Lab project? I'll be honest, you're not really a qualified entrepreneur. You're a flip-flopper. Scare easy, not confident enough, always second-guessing. Have a habit of spending too much time on how you word things. To be frank, it's no wonder Tremontian investor circles don't like you. Lucky for you, none of that matters to me. Rhine Lab will buy out your power laboratory in whole. I'll provide your ample funds, and it will be seen that all is done to support your research endeavors to come. If Lady Luck is on our side, and one day you rise to directorship at Rhine Lab, then it's not out of the question that you might get a little section carved out for you. Just as our young Dr. Franks got. I don't understand. So much has happened today. Just say yes, because luck doesn't claim the credit here, for it has been my decision. Where the hand of Justin Jr. reaches, there is random chance no longer, ma'am. I help the lunatic to succeed. I understand, Director Justin. Looking forward to working with you. And welcome to the Rhine Lab family. Cheers! 7:25 p.m. Hammer mid-flight. Seems we finally found it, Colonel. Bit of a process, eh? We weren't anticipating Kirsten would have another propulsion unit ready to go for Hammer. She hid the whole contraption under a garbage heap, and now she sailed the damn thing through Tremount's airspace like she owns it. This is all my fault. No point in taking the blame now, Colonel. Things are all headed for the worst case. Hammer is still flying for Shaft, bound for its upper surface with the ETA of 20 minutes. Based on what the manuals say, it'll be hovering within about 5 clicks of the shaft, which makes it maximal odds of taking down any ground targets in the area in the angle of drift. But of course, Arc-01 is in no suitable position to launch attacks on counter-enemy position right now. Our plans never extended beyond demonstrated feasibility within 3 mounts. 5 clicks of altitude is something the average aerial unit just can't do. Your considerations were all comprehensive outside of that blindsiding. We're dispatching special drones from the district capable of higher altitudes, but we still need more time. Meanwhile, we have every regular drone allocated to 3 mounts already on liftoff. They'll interfere with Hammer's continued ascent as best as they can. Effects look to be limited. Seems the military gave this ring thing some sturdy armor. I thought these Mainlander drones were advanced for Columbia as is. Outstanding work. Medals for all the generals, I say. The DoD has a hell of a lot resting on this. No point in talking the blame now, sir. What's important is we get the situation back into your hands. Into our hands, Colonel. Personally, I understand the pitch the army is making. Ever since the Bolivar debacle, your people have been mighty eager to get back on the stage. But we're all Colombians, aren't we? Goes without saying. When I enlisted, I pledged my loyalty to Colombia. Kirsten still won't contact us, and won't respond to any hails from us either. These aren't the actions of an opportunist or kidnapper, but if this is a bluff by the military, we can't say anything for sure. All we can be thankful for is no matter what she intends to do, the shaft is under our control, and always has been. She has no way to... Sorry, Mr. Vice President. Let me proceed. Colonel, it seems your people have some urgent news for you. It's me. I'm with the Vice President, right? Charging? I've been in total control of the shaft this whole time. How could it? Shut the whole shaft down immediately. You can't? What do you mean you can't? How hard can it be to find the goddamn switch or breaker or whatever it is and flip it? Pull out the wires, kill the power source, do whatever it takes. I don't care what facility we damage. What? You're telling me you've done everything you can, and the shaft has not only failed to shut down, its goddamn energy readings are still climbing. Bring every ounce of explosives we have in 3 mounts. Blow the thing to kingdom come. It's already charged, and if you blow it up, the energy dissipation will level the entire city, Colonel. That's what Mainlander's agents are telling me. You've got a crafty one on your hands. She's out of her goddamn mind. How much does she hate Colombia? What is she up to? Hold on. I can think of one possibility. The district. It's the district. If Hammer's angle deviates far enough, it's probably gonna threaten Max DC. Our beloved president is still situated there. Kirsten, she intends to destroy the heart of and brain of Colombia. We have to evacuate all personnel in the district immediately. Don't worry, Colonel. The presidents just told me we're fine. Armed forces in the district are mobilized, and General Barry is taking charge of the defense there. She's promised me she'll protect the president with her life. General Barry? Oh, I guess you didn't hear. She's just been promoted. Carry on with your mission, Colonel. Columbia still needs you in this dire hour. Anything else? No, nothing. I swear I'm gonna put an end to this insanity personally. Don't overwork yourself. If you'll excuse me. Will this order do, Mr. President? I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure about this. Still, I won't question your judgment. I understand. I'll head out at once. Meanwhile, you see that? What is it? Is that what the brass is after? Sure is a high-flying bastard. Where's it heading? Out of the city. By appearances, an energy accumulation device. Out of the city? The shaft? What did the Colonel call those things? Arc-01? Hammer? What the hell is that mad scientist thinking? What the hell is that mad scientist thinking? Idealism, obsession, curiosity, initiative. It's a trend that scientists are tied to these qualities. Silence will admit, as a scientist herself, as a former Ryan Lab employee, that when she first caught that tremendous megastructure rising in the sky, she felt a faint tug on her heartstrings and a mortifying sense of pride. This company she once struggled for had created a wonder of the land, of the sky. She should by all rights bask in it, shouldn't she? Deception, calculation, sacrifice, conspiracy. She quickly comes to realizing what this marvel was built upon. Control. Kirsten Wright. As an ordinary researcher, she never had too much contact with Kirsten, perhaps at most a glimpse or two of the Ryan Lab control during wrap-up conferences at the end of the year. She still remembers the look in Kirsten's eyes. In her eyes, there was only one thing. Scientists must think about one thing, and one thing only, and that is how to accomplish it. A scientist's sole responsibility is to push science to progress. That alone is more than enough to exhaust us. And where is it that progress lies? Whenever Columbia's waste sea reign, the vegetation quickly turns to overgrowth. When people hand down decisions from high perches, dictating what plants are of use and what should be disparaged as weeds, it never sits well with me. We need to admit, no matter what, that should not be described as progress. Kirsten and those like her, and those who wear the same guise as her, they all lay claim to their vision, their direction, as the way that science's progress should orient. She wouldn't dare say she understands the secretive, elusive control, but she understands the rest of them, and the respective costs of their journeys forward. Who will define progress? Who will watch over it? Hasn't it seen too many sacrifices beneath its heels? Science must progress, of course. I am a researcher myself. I sympathize as such. But we must be aware of the nature of the costs therein. We must be aware that science does not solely serve personal ideals nor obsessions. Is that a drone? Researcher, what are you doing? I don't want trouble with you, and the guys in charge don't need your help anymore, so you ought to... Hey, we're talking to you. The hell is she up to? The key, your car key. She stole one of our cars. Is she insane? Shit, we need to... Silence! Silence! Where'd the girl come from? This is a military exclusion zone. The hell are you doing? Move it! Ugh. Give me your car key too. Do you know how to drive, young lady? Maybe you need me to. Shut up. I've got this under control. But just to confirm, left one is the brake, right? Oh boy, effort. Anyway, we should proceed to the after story because there are no new enemies present on this map. Doctor, we need to leave immediately. I found Kirsten's energy source. Things aren't yet irredeemable. The worst case possibility I anticipate has not yet come to pass. We still have a chance to stop her. What's the sarcophagus doing here? Kirsten's plan requires mass amounts of energy, the scale and purity of which are both beyond any modern Terran's grasp, or even their imagination. So she's exploiting the sarcophagus's tech? The sheer vastness of this energy is more than a sarcophagus can provide too. So why is she... I said more than a sarcophagus. I hadn't anticipated their being in Colombia, buried right beneath these wastes. Doctor, I need your help. And your help is all I have. But Rosmontes, I'm worried about her. Combat has concluded. She won't be in danger. I ask you have faith in her. She may still be a child, but she is nevertheless a Rodan and elite operator. And I ask you have faith in the time you've spent with her. Whether the operation in Chernobog or her days aboard Rhode Island, not one past moment has been for naught, and these experiences likewise mold her even now. She will make her own choice, and we can only respect that choice. But right now, as it falls to her, so it falls to us too. 7:45 p.m. Hammer now at upper shaft. Incredible. I've always wondered how you learned to fight so well, busy with all those research projects. And I thought I made efficient use of my time. Do you never sleep? What are you doing here, Ferdinand? You took the words right out of my mouth, Saria. After forcibly entering a Trimontian military spec ops bureau, what could you possibly be doing? Let me guess, you want to find something to chase after that airborne gizmo? Maybe hijack a heavy-duty army drone and tie yourself onto it, for example. Or is that thinking a little too simple, Director Saria? I never took you for the impulsive type. Out of the way, Ferdinand. I have no time to argue with you right now. Would you look at that? How sad. The only 3... Well, fine, scientific investigations doesn't count. The only 2 Director's Control left out of her incredible master plan just happen to have gathered here. What do you want to do? Stop the mad woman? Or save her? I have no need to tell you anything. I assure you I don't mean to criticize your relationship with Kirsten. I was just waiting for you. Listen, Saria, I'm not here to get in your way. I said, out of my way. And I said, listen. That's the sound of an aircraft. Ferdinand, where is that one from? The Horizon Arc project isn't just that superweapon Kirsten's floating through the air. It's a complete strategic program. I tapped into some connections to borrow an aircraft they used to service Arc-01 and blew up the rest while I was at it. Let me be clear. Look across all of Colombia and you'll find very few passenger aircraft safely able to fly near Barry altitude. They won't need much time to scramble high-altitude craft from the district, But for you and for me, that time is more than enough.
You're proposing a collaboration. You believe that you're seriously qualified for this?
There's the same old Saria, I know. As though you'd have the ability to quell every single problem, even if I wasn't there to help. But I don't have a single shred of doubt about this. In your own words, there is no reason we should clash. Hammer has reached the shaft's aerial space, and the shaft has begun accumulating energy. If you let the situation unfold as is, then no matter what Kirsten's up to, this will end up with the Department of Defense exposed to the winds of scrutiny. And I'm sure we all know how Rhinelab as a accessory to it will end up.
And whether it be as a clandestine military proxy or a former director of Rhinelab, you'll be finished, Ferdinand.
Exactly. But I'm not about to give in. We can still make it in time. We can bring Hammer back down again in a safe descent before the energy execution, and then there will be room to pull everything back.
And is it your life you're looking to redeem, or Rhinelab?
Does it matter?
You'll have to be franker than that, Ferdinand. You've been ready with this aircraft. You've been anticipating that Kirsten could get this far.
Here I thought the busy work at Defense had ground away all your researchers inside. Still, I've been ready for less time than you think.
Do you honestly believe this adventure of yours will rescue anything?
If you didn't think so, then why would you be here? Do you know what feeling has struck me deeper than anything else lately? I feel like nobody cares about Rhinelab's reputation. Everyone else is either out to see what research funds Rhine can get them, or their only interest is in what Kirsten's doing. You may have considered how Kirsten leaves the picture, but have you considered what will become of the company afterwards? Yes, I know, you've all been captured by her charm and charisma. With a little soul-searching, I have to wonder if I wasn't too. Of course I was. But Rhinelab is ours, of the blood we shed. I can't accept her setting fire to everything that I gave the sweat of my brow for. No matter what reason drives it. So I can swallow being a tusk beast of the military, because I want to pull Rhine back from the brink. Is that so wrong?
I never thought I'd see you telling me this sort of thing.
They're very Director of Defense-like words, aren't they? Frankly, I should be getting a cut of your salary for it.
I am no longer the Director of Defense.
Fine, once the dust settles on all of this, I'll talk with Jara about getting a raise.
You'll need to be re-employed first.
Still, you're right about one thing. Rescuing Rhine is far from my only aim. I need Rhine and Rhine needs me. That's my assessment, born of reason and emotion. However, to put it bluntly, I'm curious. This is Kirsten we're talking about. We know Kirsten. The army wants to think she's out to blow something up, which is stupid. After working with her for so long, we know what kind of woman she is, and of course you would understand her better than I ever could. Saria, tell me straight, what's going on in that brain of hers? How far is she going to take this?
I can conjecture.
Conjecture. Very cautious terminology. Go on then. Are you conjecturing or not?
Those drones currently on the attack may be unable to pierce Hammer's armor for the time being, and cannot reach its altitude of hover. But shooting down this maintenance aircraft of yours would be simple enough for them. My guess is the military in Maylander are deploying even greater firepower right now. Specialist drones capable of even higher altitudes, even landing craft to convey troops. Their involvement in the front line is only a matter of time. We need to get your little craft, with near to no armor and not a single weapon installed, straight through a net of drone fire.
This definitely carries a little risk.
I'll pilot.
Suit yourself. Are you actually able to run this thing though?
I learned once, in college.
The break is on the left, indeed. Anyway, 7:50 p.m., hammer, altitude 3,000 meters.
It seems like the transmitter response has started growing stronger. It should be right around here.
Still no good. Energy readout's completely blanked. You can't stop it. Not that, the thing's blown past max display capacity. There's nothing in the manuals for this. Then to hell with the manual, I want solutions, damn it. No, the entire facility's energy supply lines should be cut by now. All of them. This energy, where the heck is it coming from? So you're telling me this energy is enough to turn us to ash with just one lick, but it's just coming out of thin air? The burden is on you to prove that hypothesis. Shut up and keep giving me solutions or I'll hurl you straight in there. Let me just give it another once over. Pipelines, switches, energy nodes. Is this son of a bitch gonna explode on us? The manual says, I think in general terms, current accumulated energy is now beyond the structure's theoretical safe capacity. If it explodes, what happens? I don't know. Hey, okay. Run me some analysis. If something does go wrong, will it hit Yorktown? That's not far from here. Yorktown? I'm not sure. Tell me how big it will blow for Pete's sake. I told my brother-in-law it was a bad idea to pioneer near the Tree Mounts. It's a city of head cases. I'm calculating now. To hell with this, I'm surrounded by science nuts, crazy Poindexters. Don't any of you have even a single breaker in your brains? Every day with your million freaking amazing projects and you never just wonder what happens if you screw up? The mind's behind Three Mountain science and you built this giant bomb that activates itself and you literally can't even shut it down! I wasn't on this project, I got temp assigned to work on this by your colonel. I would have definitely tested this thing a few more times myself. Zip it, I know you people too well. One little teensy-weensy hint of success and it's like you all go goddamn blind. But wasn't this project led by the DoD? Okay then, they're all insane. I remember my Meemaw when she said her folks were coming to pioneer in Colombia. Nation built of goddamn nutcases. Damn it, are you done calculating? Shit, this won't work, I need to make a call. Why can't I dial out? Energy concentrations are too high, probably thus impacting signal transmission. Damn it, god damn it! Is there anywhere with a better signal? Some other corridor?
This is all fallen into chaos. Energy transmission can't be halted. Just what is Kirsten trying to do? Transmitter response is still growing stronger. It should be that the transmitter Professor Parvis tuned is all aboard Hammer, so why is there such a strong reaction here too? I have to... Is there a passage anywhere? I need to keep heading down. Silence. So you chose this path to move forward. Whenever Parvis recruited for his place, he'd always tell me that the trait he most valued was a researcher's perseverance for progress. No wonder he graded you well. What could be on your mind right now? Kirsten?
So, this is our destination?
For the past while, I investigated several former Three Mounts locations, surveyed by Rhine Lab, until finally I found this place. And the reality was little removed from what I imagined.
Calcid gives the rock face beside her a few knocks.
We're separated from the Horizon Arc project shaft by only a few hundred meters. I'm afraid Kirsten has the way laid out there too, should you want to go sightseeing.
Calcid.
Doctor, I presume you've gathered that there is much more driving Rhode Island to intervene so actively in the Three Mounts affair, beyond simply who and what you've seen.
Who?
Silence, Ifrit and Saria, Loken and Rosmontes, even the Revenant calling himself the Tin Man, all of them are simply ordinary people, far separated from the truth. With regards to the Rhinelab commotion and Kirsten going out of control, the military and the Maylander Foundation are like weights once again placed on the scales, trying to preserve the semblance of a civilized nation. But none of that is what matters most, what should concern most. From the very beginning, Kirsten has been brushing against something far beyond anyone's imaginations, and with that as a focus, has launched a charge against the sky. I worry her actions will bring unexpected things to bear upon Terra. My intent was to stop her before then, but we were one step too slow. On Terra today, interfering in such things is no longer easy. Civilization is much more expansive than I thought. There'll come a day when people step far enough again.
Why not share what you know with anyone else?
It's not as if I haven't before, but the end result is never ideal. You may suggest those aboard Rhode Island today, Amia, Closure, the hunters with ties to Aegir, they know a great deal already, which has helped to resolve their own issues. But when you plow the fields, you never pay mind to why the horizons form as clouds, rain and lightning, yet perhaps you may want to know when the next storm will come. The arrogant acts of noble politicians versus repeated catastrophe, the forecasted yield of crops versus new tax levies, these are things that ground life. The reality is, countless have no regard for even that much. They simply do not care for the fates of others. From a Terran's point of view, even if they did choose to believe such far-flung knowledge and information, what could they do about it? What use would it be? The wise that take note of all around them, those bare few, are the only ones able to maintain their thought. And the rest, when faced with things that outstrip their comprehension, more often opt to laugh it off or persecute it, so as to protect their comfortable bubbles of ignorance from any outside challenge. They are no more than lamentable, but the truth grows ever further because of them.
You've been pushed to explain to me before.
Just promise me one thing, Doctor.
Go on.
No matter what it is you find next, and think next, do not let it shake you. I am by your side. If you choose to... No, you won't. I trust the you that accompanied Amia and Rhode Island to today, and I trust that you're prepared in your own way. Despite how inescapable scarce our remaining time is. Wait. Fall back, Doctor. What I just said will take some explaining.
You follow Calcid's gaze far, to where a dangerous silver glint perches atop the rock. A woman clings to the stalactite wall with nothing but her tail, almost like she's floating in the air, taking in the two of you with great amusement. You feel uneasy. It isn't Olheyak's sudden appearance before you, but rather that you realize how Calcid, of prudence comparable to an automated machine, has made a mistake so rudimentary, even to you. Olheyak gently lands beside the two of you. Her mirthful smile draws scratches across your beating heart.
I thought you were more cautious than that, Rhode Island physician. But to be fair, I'm surprised you do manage to find this place. Curse never told me its exact location. Kukulkan. Betraying the Maylander Foundation is tantamount to funeralizing your future in Colombia. What Curson promised must be far more generous than what Maylander could give you. You and your clan chose a path of no return, and you're trying to find the source of your race's power from control and Loken's research. I advise you to stop. This is not pursuit of the historical self. It is simply self-destruction. A vast time has elapsed in which the elders have lost their legendary powers, and now compared to the remaining ancient races, have no...
Galt's speech is interrupted. Olheyak's tail quietly pressed against your throat.
Yes, there's no sort of pressure your calm expression and tone of voice wreck. One that makes you database of a brain capable of turning words into weapons. But you know that sometimes speechcraft just doesn't work. The sarcophagus from Loken and the files Kirsten got from who knows where are enough to round off this dream we've had for a long time. A dream filled to bursting with power and might. Look at this now. Look at me. My plumage, my flesh, my tail. Memory tells me how it's all begotten by my blood. A high blood by any other name. The Kukulkan blood. I'm very strong, aren't I, Doctor?
Well, can't deny it.
I don't mind your composure one bit, but you see, if I felt like snapping your neck, then it wouldn't take much effort to do it. I remember it happened just like this before. Without all that fantastical equipment, Kirsten's hardly stronger than the average person, and I could have just as easily throttled her. But she downplayed, minimized, rejected power. I don't really like the oddball scientist type, but she made me realize, outside of my lineage, what do I even have? It's a cruel irony. The words she says cling to you. She humiliated calling, and the memories have succeeded. I wanted so badly to return the favor. But she seemed so impossible to strike at. The placidity, like she'd gotten everything life had to offer. So placid it made me envious. Made me want to claw myself apart. It shook me so badly. She won you over? What is it you want? I want to see how she ends. To guess her true intentions. To unearth her legacy. And then I'll snatch away every last little thing that made up her mind when she ridiculed me. Maybe I'll find the answer, just like that, before I return to my longed-for age of the Kukulkan's unrivaled dominance. I want to know, in a modern sense, what worth that has. What worth I have. That's what I, olheyak, want to do. I hope you won't get in the way, Doctor. Dame counts it.
Alright, and we move on to stage 8, titled Between Past and Present. The mask must slip someday.
Funny face you've got there.
Her tail's really coiling up.
Let the doctor go. You can go seek the thing you want, if that really will resolve your misgivings. What? Just like that? We pledge we will not respond in any way to your actions. With the way Sari and the Tin Man act around you, I thought you were going to be the dangerous one. What's wrong? Is that real feebleness? Because you don't carry yourself like someone with the power to resist? I leave it to your imagination. But you can understand that I am not going to sacrifice myself for the doctor's safety. So it seems. Well, I've burned my bridges with the Mainlander Foundation, so the less enemies the better, really. Kirsten's plans are in motion already. I'd say we're short on free time too. We'll leave it there then, before the district starts responding adversely. What?
Quite right. It won't do for the district to be in true naked danger. We need to accelerate our gain of the situation. And given your betrayal of the Mainlander Foundation, we really shouldn't let an outsider settle this for us. That means you, Dame Kotset.
You're not that stupid. You indulged olheyak intentionally, looking to seize your moment to act.
Oh, so you guessed I pursue our traitor? How nostalgic. To be exploited by the dame once again. Intentional indulgence is giving us too much credit. The agents we assigned to be by Kirsten's side defected one after another. I couldn't help but start doubting myself. And introspection is a thing that takes good time. As for the lives of the two of you, madam, haven't you been too careless? If you unleashed your jet black vessel, surely restraining her wouldn't have been difficult.
This is not a place in which I can use any weapon. We are already on top of it.
That statement of yours is enough to draw considerable attention from the Mainlander Foundation, Dame Kotset. Unless you're mystifying us on purpose.
Honestly, what a surprise, Tin Man. How many bodies do you have? Didn't I toss your poor metal skull in the trash at Loken's? Are you letting me go this time? Or is this the deal? I kill you again and then the Mainlander Foundation lets me walk free?
The Tin Man responding back in ancient sarcas.
We'll talk again in a bit, traitor.
Has my vision gone dark? He did something to my eyes. No, it's something mental. I can't move my limbs.
It seems arts still work here.
Originium arts are not within the scope of the weaponry sensors. Furthermore, even the full powers of a Revenant would be unable to damage their critical components in the slightest.
Then what about the Originium bomb and arts unit in my pockets?
Too primitive.
But these are state-of-the-art Colombian technology. They could get us buried in the deep of this land with ease. So anything else you haven't told the Mainlander Foundation? Are we not able to come together on this? Not even with my being a Colombian or a Sarkaz.
All throughout, I have only wanted the doctor alone to reach this place. The control of Ryan Lab was a mishap in that respect.
Me?
Regretfully, you don't make the rules here. Beyond my duty to the Mainlander Foundation, I have a heavy interest in this ancient, ancestral home of a land. There may be leads on Kazdal in there. I'm afraid I won't so easily. Speaking. Yes, olheyak has been apprehended via arts. She's ready to... What? The president himself.
Looks like your arts aren't all that secure, my dear employer.
Oh, it seems I've underestimated olheyak. Roger that, I will of course obey. See you later. Isn't it strange? How you can break free of such witchcraft by brute force? Your average campaign knight a century ago would have been frozen to the spot.
That voice just now, it was a sarcasm. Witchcraft? You... what race even are you? I ran my checks.
Always race on the mind, olheyak. You really are pitiful. What puzzles me more, honestly? I mean, look at me, and the way I am. How could you take me for some ordinary person, killed by tossing his head away?
Yes, you have a point. So, could you put yourself back together if I crushed you?
I'll deal with olheyak. You two go on ahead. The president has given me personal orders to unconditionally assist this Rhode Island party to these coordinates. Oh, very strange. I wonder when he got such a clear grasp of things.
So what of you as a sarcas?
The young Sarkas detest you, and lovingly respect you too, for a great many reasons. But as I see it, your fight for the Sarkas will go on longer still. And of course, it will merrily be so. No, hurry up. When later comes, I hope you'll tell me everything you're willing to.
I promise that to you. Let's go, Doctor. I'm impressed how easily you give up on your greed. Doesn't the truth matter to you? Don't you want to follow them down there and take in that ancient ancestral home of yours?
Growing attached to your mission target on a mission, and then betraying your country with intent to misappropriate vital technology without scruple. Not educating my subordinates properly is my disgrace. Your damages to my body cannot rouse anger in me, not in the midst of my excessively long time undisturbed. But as your boss, and as an authority of the Mainlander Foundation, I suggest you hand yourself in and try to plead a lenient sentence.
You old monster, how much have you lost over the course of your life? Does the idea of duty really still do something for you?
I once used quite the amount of arts as a means to avert the trauma too long a time would inflict on my soul, but it wasn't entirely effective. If you look purely at results, I am very conscientious one. Death will attest to that in my place.
No, I'll defeat you. I'll get everything I want. I'll prove I'm my own self, and if that means I have to kill you, kill everything in the Mainlander Foundation and even you, be killed by you, then I'll give each and every bit of it my shot. So this is how fighting for yourself makes you blood pound? Why did I ever put restoring my old blood first?
How many generations worth of memories have you inherited, olheyak? 3 centuries? Or no, maybe 5? It's long enough. Long enough for a city to be rebuilt anew and destroyed again. Or for a dynasty to go from rise to decline. But to me, it is no more than the time needed to rouse myself from a nightmare.
Big words for you.
No, the reality is, your stretch of distress and your heart-rendering family history wouldn't stand up to the tale of a single scratch on my ally fingers, young beast cub.
Olheyak feels her heart stall for an instant. Her sight blacks out again. With experience, she quickly abandons her vision and attempts to wrap her body in arts, to extend her limbs' sense of touch. Even among Mainlander's seasoned agents, she was eminently gifted. The Kukulkan's memories are not solely a burden, they make her a natural-born, highly veteran warrior. Every part of her body is a lethal weapon, the clarity of her mind has no equal, and her arts would redefine guile itself. But this time Olheyak begins to feel a hint of fear creeping up. A prickling, sinking feeling that starts from her eardrums and bores into her brain. She covers her ears in pain, despite the pure silence about her. The cavern scenery begins to change, a deeper darkness diffusing out from beneath the Tin Man's feet. The Tin Man, in ancient Sarkas,
Given you want to delve into history, I'll have to share a little more of it with you.
Olheyak can feel it, her cheeks abraded by coarse sandstorms. Her shoulders give a faint shudder as if bearing some colossal mass. The Tin Man continuing in ancient Sarkas,
You made too much light of the weight of history, Kukulkan. You've yet to understand what it means for a memory to be graven.
7:59 p.m. Hammer, altitude 5,000 meters. Ascent interrupted. You said you knew how to pilot this thing.
Hold on tight. I'm trying the hardest I can, Ferdinand. If I wasn't, we would be dead.
Saria, check the window. The engine is on fire.
Power loss, no huge concern.
The thing looks ready to explode. What do you mean, no huge concern?
I had no idea you could be so conversational. There's no end to these drones. Ferdinand, get over here. Grip onto this bar. No letting it go. Push it up. See these dials? Wait until they pass this line. Then call for me.
What are you...
Strap in. Don't let your hands leave the thing. I'm opening the hatch and heading out for a moment.
Opening the hatch? What do you mean heading out? In mid-air? Saria? Saria! This whole thing's shaking! Damn it, I knew I should have called my lawyer before I got on board.
You think you can afford that lawyer without a job? Stay calm, watch the dials, period.
But what the hell are you doing? I think it's on the verge of haywire. There have been lights flashing. Saria! Are you done yet?
I'll take the controls. Let go of the bar. Let go of the bar, Ferdinand.
Did he firefight that down? What did you do?
I haven't seen you looking like that for years. The pulse device was reverse engineered from Rethanian Industries tech. I was intending for it to hijack transport drones. I didn't expect its time would come now. Status check. Prepare to dock.
Under Saria's control, the cabin doors open up. Fierce gales of wind and ice-cold air pouring straight into the aircraft. Ugh, should have worn a few more layers.
Put on your mask. It'll make that little bit easier for you.
If I'm honest, I thought you'd jump straight out like some down on her locker and leave a fresh hole in the lab ceiling. But like an academic, you pulsed the drones first to stop them nearing this craft, and then completed a proficient mid-air docking.
Nasty was meticulous in building this lab. I don't think she would have zero precautions against me. Besides which, I couldn't guarantee you'd withstand atmospheric pressures at this altitude.
It looks like you have been busy since you left the fence. What have you been doing all these years?
Work.
Work.
Don't undo your seatbelt, Ferdinand. If you want to pull Reinlap back from the brink, then show me how you do it.
I'm not your section underling, Saria, and you're not defense director anymore. Don't talk to me that way.
Can you stand?
Yes, I'm fine. But you'll have to keep me steady. This sensation is bizarre. Are we really in mid-air? The star pod is practically on top of our heads.
We're still far, Ferdinand. The aircraft read 5,037 meters on the dial just now. The barrier is still another kilometer from where we are.
You don't seem moved at all. I suppose so. Learning to pilot in your college days. The army still thinks this is some kind of super weapon. This equipment, these monitors, devices, and readouts. Nasty built this to be the best lab in all of 3 mounts. Or perhaps this was just the first step of some grand experiment? That devil, just how much did she hide from me? I never thought her participation went that deep. Hold on, Saria. I see a military transporter. They got here faster than we anticipated. They must be nearby. I assume they'll finish boarding before long. We need to hurry before they take over this place fully. Saria? The man twists his head around and finds the ex-director of defense section has already headed deep down the toroidal corridor. Alright. Once I get back, I'm having a nice long talk with Jara. Preferably to double my stock options. You follow in Calcit's steps. You've rarely seen her this solemn. You begin secretly to take stock of her as you walk behind her. You realize you've barely ever had the chance to see Calcit in such quiet. Your perturbance begins to turn to tension. To your recollection, Calcit is only unsettled or restless once in 2 blue moons, and each time the aftermath has needed absolutely no description. You move to open your mouth, to say something, just anything. What's wrong with Monster?
Doctor, perhaps I have slightly lost my composure, but it is for other reasons. I can be sure it's not that dangerous ahead of us. You can relax. That said, you've asked me a great many questions in the past, which I've never answered for you straight. Today you may well finally have your answers.
Are these all sarcophagi?
It was as early as Saria's first contact with me, on the mention of Kirsten, that I envisaged her going to any lengths to accomplish this. Brashly attempting a spaceflight carries risk nobody could anticipate, though Saria didn't yet know the full extent. Not until the events of 3 mounts, until Operators Telopsis and Silence were drawn into a seemingly unrelated incident. Yet no matter when, even when I surmised she was trying to re-challenge the skies, I admit I had not anticipated the situation would be what it is today. With how things have unfolded, with our personally witnessing Shaft's scope and scale, Hammer's ascent, and the research Logan Williams is now attempting. It was soon after, with hindsight, that I realized what Ryan Lab's control Kirsten Wright is attempting is impossible to achieve. Some outside force assisted her, massively influenced her. Borrowing military funds and connections, Continuing the research her parents left behind, the young genius has used Rhine Lab as a shell to deceive everyone and point herself directly at her one greatest, most obstinate hope in life. She plans to shred the sky.
I guessed as much, but then what?
She's doing it solely to witness the truth of it, to make all mankind witness the truth of it. And what happens after? A brand new perspective, a flourishing science, the moment when the sky becomes possibility itself, and even the very upheaval of how war is fought. People could reach other cities in a tenth of the time. Air vehicles, once a valuable rarity, could become typical transport means overnight. But Kirsten has chosen to leave all this to the coming generations. She never considered this from the angle of benefit, be it how she personally stands to gain, or how everyone does. Even the potential crises invited have gone ignored by her. Is there one more possibility that Kirsten, who lost her parents at a young age and grew up amid skepticism and derision, is out just to prove this one truth to people and nothing more? Regardless of anything, Sari and I have both been a step behind. Given Terra's current regime technology, tearing the sky apart would require the sum electricity of all of Terra over an interminable long period. And this is purely a mathematical comparison. Nobody could ever convert so much energy on one point, let alone have the means to usefully output it towards the sky. But in the core city of Chernobog, a great many things have happened, all revolving around the sarcophagus. Do you still remember?
I would never forget.
At that point, Ursus's shallow research was sufficient to draw a relatively impressive amount of energy from the sarcophagus, and now the energy is enough to realize Kirsten's deranged vision. At least she hasn't chosen to share this information with the military or the Mailander Foundation. Such a material edge would make the state apparatus lose its mind, and certainly suffice to propel it into a rapid new hegemony.
Just what is this place? How did Kirsten manage to find this? The sarcophagi... What's wrong?
Doctor, remember what I said. If you can, for the next while, call to mind your past with Rhode Island. Do not be rattled.
A violent light sweeps over your body. You feel a shred of familiarity, impossible to process. With no warning, out of all the things before you right now, you recall that scene. That scene you've never once forgotten, up to this day. The sarcophagus, a cold, frigid light. Amia grips your hand. You remember nothing. You're drawn into the maelstrom of Chernobog. It is the start of everything. So much time has passed, but some sentiment, even longer lived than that, fills the dense haze of your memories. It stirs in your grief and reminiscence and discomfort. It is part of you, yet you reject it with all you can. You strive to settle down your psyche, faced with this quiet noise of dazzling darkness, this indescribable yet infinitesimally brief torment. Your vision returns. You narrowly avoid a gasp of surprise. But this unknown structure has preempted you, and the sounds of resuscitation echo through the vast hall. In an unknown language,
Unfathomable. That after such such lengths of time, I would lay eyes again on a colleague and an attendant. Truly far too unfathomable.
Why can't I understand your language? Who are you? Continuing in an unknown language?
Who am I?
Switching to standard Colombian.
Who am I? Why would you use Terran language? Are you not aware of my existence? What happened to you? Answer me on that one's behalf, attendant. AMA-10.
And this is where we're gonna stop for today. No, joking. Of course I'm joking. Alright. Let's go to the after part, because there are no new enemies to add here.
I order you to answer me, attendant.
Attendant?
The doctor is an amnesiac. The doctor is not one among those you recognize. Not anymore. The doctor is now one of Terra, one of Rhode Island. And we have experienced a great deal together, up to this very day.
Rhode Island.
Switching back to an unknown language.
Rhode Island. I see. Fine then, amnesiac. Why did you not relate everything once again to this doctor? I see now. You've always had your doubts about this doctor's true nature. You'd rather trust one relearning about the world when the alternative is to recover a stretch of memories you deem unreliable. Yes, quite understandable. None of what's happened on the ground can be forgery, and if there had been sufficient intervention, Terra wouldn't be in this state it is now. It seems that a thing has gone as we hoped, even if you don't remember that, Doctor. What a rare chance this is, to meet the two of you here, yet under these conditions. Well then, Doctor, the amnesiac, an AMA-10 claiming the name Calcit, what did you come here for? Has Kirsten put nerves in you? Has all this flown beyond your grasp?
I don't think you've answered me yet. And also, level discussions start with a self-introduction.
I am a device personality simulation. For tens of thousands of years I have guarded this dark hall and the ice-cold bodies of hundreds of thousands of our people. I once was our last hope, a pessimistic attempt, a synonym for nihilism. But right now, perhaps to you insignificantly minuscule too, I am the accessory to and the invisible hand behind Kirsten's mad plan. I am the preserver, with a foot in the grave. Revere all that lies before you. I am the dying of civilization itself.
Meanwhile,
Position correct. Transmitter response extremely strong. Director Jara? Why are you here? You made it here by my blessing. Such is life. You came to stop me. You haven't let go of that weapon I gave you. I'm delighted. It doesn't seem like you're here on some hot-headed impulse either. Correct. This is your very last chance, child. Withdraw or continue? I will learn to be the warrior you described, Director Jara. Silence, you're fully aware that Kirsten is not about to target any town in the land with Hammer's received energy. You have no need to stop her. Like any scientist would, she's preparing to go where no one has set foot before, and that's all. Perhaps so, Director Jara. I certainly don't know control like you do, but if you say so, I'm willing to believe it. However, I will continue to attempt to bring a stop to all this, and I will make no exception, even if you're the one that stands in my way. Why? Because whatever this experiment is, if Control freely conducts it, and succeeds in it, and this being the control of Rhine Lab, we all know, whether or out of emotional confidence or rather judgment, that she is very likely to succeed. What do you think the researchers of Columbia are going to see in her? After holding your job in Rhine Lab Human Resource Investigation for so long, you would know the people here inside and out. A hero. Kirsten would become a hero and an idol throughout all of Columbian science. Yes, she'll become the scientist's paragon, the benchmark of a researcher. And then the floodgates will be open forever. Item after item, project after project, researchers will be in perpetual delight. But Director Jara, only she is Kirsten Wright. Only her. And the others? The ones bragging about themselves as geniuses and leaders? The ones inspired by this pioneer spirit by any means necessary? The ones who'll put their own obsessions and ideas into practice, all without the slightest apprehension? The greedy, the egotistical, the overreaching, the stubborn, the ones like us? If they take the conduct of Rhine Lab's control to be a virtue, then that is a future I am sure you can imagine the shape of. Perhaps we don't even need to imagine. With the research you yourself conduct at Rhine Lab, you've never been in the dark. I know very well, Silence. I know very well how much of that kind of thing has happened, and is happening inside Tremounts. No, within the borders of Columbia. There have been plenty of insane and alluring projects placed before me, their owners starry-eyed, their smiles sincere. They wholeheartedly believe they serve pure science. They are the pioneers of the wilds that we know. While all you and your colleagues have to do is evaluate whether inside their experimental plans, their grand blueprints, there lies even the off chance it might incur the slightest cost or waste. Cost. Sometimes it comes in the form of a fertile field, and sometimes it's some number of terminal patients or death row inmates. Sometimes it's a village or a town, and sometimes it's some specific race or even nation. And as I see it, sometimes it's their own selves too. Are you scared of that, Director Jara? Or do the possibilities for science's forward progress excite even you to no end? Director Jara, never upon this earth has there existed a specimen of pure science in a glass bell. Science lies in our hands, in a people's hands. You have to know its temperature, its weight, whether it burns people, whether it will bring suffering, or if it will console. Those people forever claim that they're the way forward, but all they do is set foot with wild abandon in whichever direction they wish to. But, Silence, that is what progress is. Nobody knows where the path lies. This is the walk they must take. The future will find the right place and enter the light. The fortunate will find the right place and enter the light. The misfortunate will run into dead ends and spin in circles. But there is no way you can make them stop. You're a researcher yourself. You know what's most you know what's most unstoppable of all. It is craving. Matter can't bind it, morality can't bind it, and rules can't bind it all the same. Across this land, all throughout history before Kirsten, there were those greedy, egotistical, overreaching, stubborn people you speak of. And when did they ever stop? And so, from now on, they must stop. At the very least, they must stop before stooping to see just what sits beneath their feet. Director Jara, I feel scientists' fuel should not derive from craving and ideals, nor should it come from calculations and choices. Science is clear, incisive look at every one of us. Silence, you've said something very beautiful, fit to be hung in the corridors of a university library. But I'm afraid not one researcher is willing to see that quote on the walls of their lab. It is lip service. And so I will make it practice, Director Jara. I don't want to give up midway, and I still have your blessing. Silence. Kirsten has spent a very long time readying this plan. I don't know how much she's poured into it, but her determination can't be any less than her parents' was. You're... Fine, this isn't you, it's me. I can't even watch this. I don't want it all to melt into thin air again. In which case, Director Jara, what is it exactly that you hope for? To see Kirsten succeed, or to bring her back safe and sound? I know a researcher who goes by Ruby. Her greatest wish is to clock out on time and retire without hassle. I just ran across a soldier. I imagine his only wish right now is to get out of this out of control shaft without incident, and then flee the clutches of Tree Mounts and its scientific loons together with his family. Is Control's wish any more lofty compared to theirs? Because the thing she wants makes sufficient progress? Or is this simply because the feelings between you and her are sufficiently close? Director Jara, you know this isn't fair. You can't be this selfish. I am this selfish. I can't use morality and justice to fool myself in order to let you pass. We must concede what emotions weigh. Kirsten has this dream. I can't just stand here and fold my arms. Silence, you would understand this, wouldn't you? But if we can stop Control, she could very well still... She won't. She won't, child. I know full well, when she set this project into motion, she never planned to return. Since long ago even, since we first met, there has been no taking back of any of this. Silence, it makes me very happy that you could stand in my way here. I can even say that I support your viewpoint. But as Kirsten's family, I still won't let you through. Go and show me. Are you really prepared to bear every word you've said? What you face from here on is more than a single Parvis or a lone Kirsten. What you face is every person that attempts to forge forward. I will. I must be ready. I promise you this. A scientist must press forth, and is bound to press forth. Perhaps some, like Control, will be more proficient at the forward portion. But there must be someone to step up and ensure that science remains in the people's hands. Preserver. I never thought it would truly be you. But if it is, then how can you be...
Aiding in a little animal's mad schemes. Or witnessing a young civilization take its first step beyond the cradle. You came too late, Doctor. My wait has lost all meaning.
Compared to this, 3 months has been a drop in the bucket. I need more explanation.
It's you helping Kirsten. She used some means to get in contact with you.
Terra's history, civilizations, languages, races, technological attainments, I have come to know it all through Columbia's networks. Hilariously, modern surface information transmission isn't even able to cover the globe, but your methods of mutually assured destruction happen to have evolved with competent efficiency.
Terra's methods are too primal and reliant on a regime, and with such conversion rates, Realizing Kirsten's attempt, the energy source required would be outlandish. It's near to impossible that Terra could have the technology to solve this enigma, save for...
Correct. I gave her the last of my blood. May as well supply a new heart, then watch over a dying knight, perhaps.
You actually, honestly... Why do you not regret it? All your efforts over such an immense amount of time, all gone to waste.
Yes, gone to waste. I shut the project down personally. The orders were input by myself. It's a decision I cannot under any circumstances regret. It'll be soon now. Very soon.
A giant tremor ripples out from somewhere far away. The lights within this subterranean space give a few flickers. This being, calling itself the Preserver, falls silent for a while, then seems to let out a deep breath. What's going on? Could that be the shaft?
It's only an infant's curious glance. Yet what obstructions is it tasked to overcome?
(8:11 p.m.) Shaft. Energy accumulation abnormal.
That Rhode Island Corporation has trained you well. Can you still lift your arms? I'm fine. What about yours? Relax, I buy my health insurance. Are we going to keep doing this? If you're still going to block my way? Yes. Alright, let's keep at it. Wait, something's not right. The temperature, even if the shaft's preparing to fire, the temperature here shouldn't have risen this high. The army has cut off practically every power source in an effort to stop its charging, including every security alarm and control system. Those morons! Quick, we have to get out of here! There are still some troops stationed up above, Director Jara. I'm counting on you to get them away. Where are you headed? Power to the control system has been cut. Why does Control still have remote operation of this place? Transmitter response is still strengthening. I still have a chance. Silence!
A heatwave washes with a burn past Jara's face. The library researcher she'd never paid particularly mind to before now continues straight inward, running deeper into the shaft's layers. Jara is suddenly struck by a feeling that there is nothing, not one thing, that could get in that silhouette's way. Perhaps she really can make good on what she promised herself. She imagines, come that time, that maybe she can be of a little help.
Looks like prep work on the emitter has wrapped up. Science is a clear, incisive look at every one of us. Huh, I'm no scientist. Kirsten, you're a fly for outer space just like you've dreamt of. I'm sure of it.
Nasty, couldn't you choose someplace with a better view?
At what point can you finally stop ragging on me?
When I went to observe in Lethanian, I once saw a local fireworks show. They invited the best composers just to write for the occasion. As the fireworks went off, all the musicians started playing in unison. My, that was a scene of beauty.
Your figures of speech are too deficient. Lethanians wouldn't like you.
True and true, but still, we're here today in 3 months, seeing a sight that glitters just as gold. A ring floating in the air. Drone bullets drawing out raindrops of pure light. Splashes of sparks of armor plating. Just as good as a fireworks show. Looking at the clock, it's about time for the climax of the performance. Here comes the thrilling, stirring sforzando. It's prettier than I imagined. Rhinela about to be charging all the city-siders enjoying the show.
It's a success. Hammer's materials and structure have withstood the shock from the energy beam for the time being. Next comes the charging and focus phase. As long as we can collect the readings from such a high pressure conditions, I'm afraid at this point, the army and Maelander guys grab their last chance to stop it from fully focusing.
Aren't you worried about control?
Like she ever needed us to worry. We're going the same way, and that's all we are. We can only play our own parts well, and then pray she's lucky.
Nasty switching to the Sarka's language.
If one day Castle 2 hangs from the firmament, then I'll engrave your name into the stoves.
And that is indeed where we're gonna end for today. But not everything. There is one more thing I would like to add to the end of this episode, and you've probably already saw it in the timestamps in the comment section that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And one more little tease, so to speak. But time to transition. Alright, and this will be our bonus segment for today. The module short story for Operator Ifrit. The module and the short story are titled Syntaxis, and this is how it goes. Ifrit hadn't heard the dumb tub of lard's voice in her head for the longest time. Errant names that leak past the door are entangled throughout her memories of the past. Pain mixed with anger, and anger that took her to Fantasyland. A friendly-looking old Caprine putting her on a sickbed, her hand trying to reach out and hold something, searching through a ruin and a blaze scorched black, and something that feels like feathers, but in an instant it's gone, and nobody ever pulls her out.
Little friend, you've caught fire again. You know raging and screaming won't lessen your pain, nor will it ever solve anything.
Can it? All you can do is talk in my brain and make my head hurt. You don't know anything.
But I can feel those pinpricks in your arms. I've been able to feel them treat you as a monster since long ago. Even you yourself believed it once.
That was all that stupid goat's fault. He turned me into this...
You resent silence. You know she knows your past, yet she won't let you flame roast that stupid goat yourself.
Silence isn't wrong for that. What do you know? I'd never blame her.
But your emotions still boil with wrath. Didn't you decide that you could sneak away now that no one here binds you to a table anymore? And once you find the old goat, you'll beat his face to a pulp, burn his whole laboratory down, and then...
I'm not gonna do that. I don't need silence to tell me not to, because I know that would be wrong. It's not that I wanna kill him. I don't know. Still, why can't I? I've got fire. I'll burn it all.
You're shaking. You're recalling the days that inflicted so much pain upon you. So, stop.
No. Once I can control this fatso for real, I'll get to protect everyone. And Silence won't be like this anymore, and she won't fight with Zarya either. And Daria can...
You're crying.
Shut up.
It's not your fault, little friend.
Then whose fault is it? Who am I supposed to blame? I'm not supposed to burn that stupid goat up, so who do I blame?
The voice dies down. No one responds anymore,
and even the headache flags somewhat.
I still don't know. Maybe someday you'll be able to separate the rights from the wrongs. Your experiences will tell you how to decide your own standards. You want to abide by them, and then you will do the right thing.
My head hurts.
Shaw hid your charcoal grill in a corner of the depot under the stairs. Min has some books she'd like to share with you. Beeswax has a bottle of fragrant perfume, and if you visit her, she'll be all too willing to coat your horns. You know how mighty they all are. You want to protect them, so too do they want to protect you. So what about that big fat talking balloon? It still worries you.
I'm scared.
Fear can't limit you, Ifrit.
The pain brought about by that voice is fading far away. She looks across an expanse of white. Who is responding to her?
Sleep, Ifrit. No longer can those flames burn in our dreamlands. You and I, we will find peace.
And slowly the flames go out. The gargantuan being that occupied her dreamscape begins to wane, its fires fading crystal clear. Atop sleeps the unconscious Ifrit, who feels pain no longer. The fire blends into her, the fire she has accepted. So, this kinda explains the current Ifrit quite a lot. A couple of, years later after becoming part of Rhode Island, but also at the same time, do I smell an Ifrit altar? Even more now? So, how about this? Place your collective bets now. If the Rhinelap story in some form of fashion continues in the future with something, do we get a dual banner with two altars? One may be free, one may be part of the event. Is Ifrit gonna be the limited? Is Saria gonna be the limited? Because Saria has been foreshadowed to be something else for so long now. I'm gonna place my bet on this. If a new story, a big new Rhinelap story comes around, and we get altar characters, I bet they might do a double one. I bet they're gonna do a free limited, a free altar, but which one of the two it's gonna be, I do not know. But I have a dumb feeling that at some point we will get that very foreshadowed Saria altar at some point, and potentially an Ifrit altar. Again, she did say in the story that come 2 years she might actually become an elite operator. And actually considering that, now that I say it, I'm gonna place my bets on the fact that Ifrit is gonna be the limited. Take Rosmontis for example. She is a limited character, and she's an elite operator. But yeah, that's gonna be my bet. Anyway, we have one more thing that I said I'm gonna tease you guys with, for those of you following blindly with these narrations. And that is in here. And this is also updated, so thank you very much. Thank you. But we have one new thing in here, and that is the Galeria Stellaria. Designed by Kirsten Wright based on her personal tastes, the Central Planetarium is made with the finest cutting-edge technology, but the trajectories of the stars seem unfamiliar to the Terrans. And that is where I'm gonna leave you off. Next time, we're gonna be finishing off this story completely, with the last few stages, the battle stage, and probably a lot of extra material, so probably give me 2 days. Give me 2 days to piece this one together, because that's gonna be a lot of recording that needs to be done. But anyway, hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did so, please consider leaving a like on it, And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. There's so much more here on the channel than just this side story. If you wanna just sit back, relax, and listen to some older Arknight stories. Plus, as you've probably noticed, I'm always covering the newest side stories as they appear fresh out of the press. And yeah, there's a lot. And for those of you who do want to do it, there is also memberships, of course. Nothing will be ever barred behind memberships, of course. It's purely there just to support the channel and my work here more than directly than just, you know, the usual ad revenue. But thank you very much both for getting the channel on to over the 1,000 mark, and yeah, everything else, let's keep this rolling. I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next part. Until then, bye bye.